Yes, sir. What's up, good people? It's your boy D-Boy Henry back at it again. Episode 3, GG or Die Podcast. Back again. How we feeling? How we looking? Summer's around the corner. How we looking? We have a packed episode as per usual today. There's quite a few things that have taken place this week. We had marathon announcements, Ubisoft announcements, Xbox announcements. It's packed. It's packed. So sit back, relax. Let's get off into it. Now, I will say we're going to kick off with the Ubisoft news. This week, I also kicked off Ghost Recon Breakpoint. Oh yes, it's all the game. Yes, I get it. But I hopped back off in there because I had started it off, but I did not put too much time into it. I had maybe like an hour or so in there. I was up to like level 3, up in that good guy. And for whatever reason, after finishing Assassin's Creed Shadows, dope game. 4 out of 5. I give it a 4 out of 5. I will be dropping a review for that. I know it's late, but I'm still dropping a review for that over on Fuse, which is a social media platform specifically for the gamers. A lot of people like to say keep it gaming. Over there, they keep it gaming. Every now and then you come across a movie trailer or some board game stuff or some card stuff, but it's, general nerd stuff. It's none of the other kind of things that tend to plague social media platforms, at least not yet anyway. You know what I mean? It's still fairly new. Anyway, so I'm playing Ghost Recon Breakpoint, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm like, man, this is like an open world division, but out in the wilderness, and you can go prone, camouflage yourself in the mud, the dirt, the snow. Tons of stuff in this game that's just straight up cool. You got NPCs running around, different side quests, different missions, different vehicles, tons of weapons, different skill trees, classes. Oh, it's a lot there. There's a lot of joy to be had up in there. Can't believe I dropped that game for whatever, and I don't even remember why, to be honest with you. I really don't. The enemies are not as, but I don't want to say bullet spongy, because the Division, there's a certain way to build into a character, and you'll melt NPCs, you'll melt quote unquote bosses if you got a proper build. If you know what you're doing, it's a lot more thought you got to put into it. You can't just pick up a gun and spray. Though they do have that realism mode dropping that I will be checking out, that kind of cuts out all the extra stuff, and it's just a third person shooter, which I'm gonna enjoy. But this is more so in line with that. They do have some things, tons of settings inside this game that you can tweak and tune, and even to a degree get that quote unquote realism aspect where it's not so RPG. Even though I do like that aspect, and I think Ubisoft did an awesome job injecting RPG elements into third-person shooters. One of the first, one of the best. Argue with your mammy. Now let's get off into this article. VGC, Ubisoft has canceled 6 games, including the Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time remake. It has also delayed 7 other games to ensure enhanced quality benchmarks are fully met. Now, of course, this is bad news. People do not like to hear about cancellations. People do not like to hear about delays, especially when it's a IP as loved and enjoyed as a Prince of Persia. People have been waiting on this for quite a while. Not so much. I did play the older ones. I did enjoy them, but I did enjoy them. But I wasn't hankering for a new Prince of Persia. I just wouldn't. That's just me though. But the delays, I'm really not upset about, because I didn't. What were they? What games were they? We don't know. We just hear that it's delays. And this year, it doesn't seem that they have anything notable dropping on PC or consoles. We got the 60 frame updates for some Far Cry games. We got Siege coming to mobile. mobile. We also have Division Resurgence, hopefully coming out this year. Maybe that's one of the games that were delayed, but again, that's mobile. That's a super niche. A lot of people don't really care for the mobile aspect, even though a lot of the times the mobile games do extremely well. But continuing on, Ubisoft has announced that it has canceled 6 games currently in development, including its remake of Prince of Persia: Sands of Time, and delayed 7 others. As part of a larger announcement that is conducting a major organizational, operational, and portfolio reset, the company also stated that it had conducted a thorough review of its content pipeline over the past 2 months. I believe it. Because there's a lot of stuff been going on over at Ubisoft. Shout out to Bounty. This review led to the decision to refocus its portfolio, reallocate resources, and comprehensively revise its roadmap over the next 3 years, it said. So you got a little timeline, a little 3-year timeline, which is a long time, but in game development, 3 years it really ain't shit. It really ain't shit at all. Ubisoft said its focus will be on a return to exceptional levels of quality on the open world adventure segment. That should be applauded. A lot of people love these open world games. One of the homies, shout out to the big homie Wood 777JP, he thoroughly enjoys open world games. He thoroughly enjoys these Assassin's Creed, and I enjoy them too. As I just stated, Ghost Recon Breakpoint, open world, I'm enjoying it heavily. You know what I'm saying? And to step change the group's position in the games as a service native experiences segment. Now, as far as games as a service goes, that is a controversial genre inside of gaming, though they do have one of the longest running, one of the most successful games as a service to date in Rainbow Six Siege, which just celebrated its 10-year anniversary last year, and they did a relaunch, and it was an event. It was an event. They got a new mode up in there, and people seem to be enjoying it. They really are. The last games as a service they released, X-Defiant, which I thoroughly enjoyed, a ability-based hero shooter. They ended up shutting that down. It was a free-to-play, and it just didn't take off. Visually, I didn't think it was up to par as far as current gen gaming, but the gameplay was there. It was really there, and I don't think they were able to really monetize on it because cosmetics they were not hitting at all. But overall, the game was fun. People said they wanted a competitor 2 card. In my opinion, it was a good competitor card, but people just didn't want to, after that first week, first month, people just weren't really diving off into it and playing it as much as they probably hoped. And then before that, they had Hyperscape, which was a battle royale, much like the finals in a way, as far as aesthetic and the general, like the crowd and people getting involved, and it feeling like a kind of event. And that didn't go nowhere. Now, they do have the crew, which does well each and every time it drops. And they do have, I wouldn't consider For Honor a live service game. You could put it because they still updating it, people still playing it, it's multiplayer. But, it's high time for a new one of those, to be honest. That joint almost as old as Siege, if I'm not mistaken. And they have not had a revamp. They have not had any of the, resources resurged up in there. But it's still going strong. It's got a good community over there. A lot of people love that game. I thoroughly enjoyed that game. I put a ton of time inside that game right there. And then, the game I'm currently playing, Breakpoint, but they ended support for that back in 2023. But, they had their updates. They fixed it, updates, content, and they had like a pretty nice size update like 3 years ago. So, but that's no longer going on. Division 1, they just did a program with that, had some more people run over there to play the survival mode over there. And then Division 2, which got a surge of personnel back over there, and it seems to be full steam ahead as far as Div 3, but that's a live service situation, and they keep up with that. That's got a lot of new support back over there because that's one of their more prominent franchises in my opinion. And I do enjoy that looter shooter, one of the first, if not the first, extraction shooter experiences of individual could jump off into with the dark zone. Super cool situation over there. But carrying on, as a result of this, Ubisoft says it has discontinued 6 games that it felt do not meet the new enhanced quality as well as more selective portfolio prioritization criteria. That's a lot of business words right there. Them a lot of big boy words right there. This means that Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time remake has been canceled, as well as 4 unannounced titles, including 3 new IPs and a mobile title. The identity of the 6th game has not been clarified. That's interesting. They had 3 new IPs rocking, and then a mobile game. So, is it Resurgence that was canceled? Well, I know Homeland was a mobile game and it was canceled, but I don't know if they include that in this. Ubisoft also announced it was delaying 7 other games to ensure enhanced quality benchmarks are fully met. This includes the unannounced title initially planned for FY26 that has been delayed to FY27 fiscal year. It has been believed for some time that the unannounced title in question is a long reported but not yet confirmed remake of Assassin's Creed Black Flag, especially given that a listing for Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced appeared on PEGI's website last month. Now, this is a game that the people have been looking forward to. This is a fan favorite right here. So, this would be a good game. Not a good game, but a big game if it were to have released this year. You know what I mean? This would have really caused some waves and ripples, as it were. But, you know, it's pushed, apparently. In a statement posted in the official Prince of Persia account on X, the game's development team explained the decision to cancel it. Oh, man. To the Prince of Persia community, we want to share this with you directly. The message reads, we made the difficult decision to stop development on Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time remake. We know this is deeply disappointing. The game carries enormous meaning for fans and for the teams who worked on it. So the team made the decision, or big bad Ubisoft as a whole made the decision? Come on now, let's be honest with the people. Let's be transparent. While the project had real potential, we weren't able to reach the level of quality you deserve, and continuing would have required more time and investment than we could responsibly commit. And we didn't want to release something that fell short of what the Sands of Time represents. So they're taking that quality aspect extremely important. You know, yes, you could look back on it and say, waste of time, waste of resources, but at the same time, it's not your time and it's not your money. So while we can be upset, the thing that really was wasted is on Ubisoft. You know what I mean? That really don't cause us no strife. Prince of Persia as a universe and a legacy continues to matter deeply to us, and this decision doesn't mean we're stepping away from the franchise. Thank you for your passion, patience, and love for Prince of Persia. Okay, so that means they're not selling the IP off. They still gonna be kicking the can around. Ain't no telling when you gonna see it again. Ain't no telling when they gonna start working on something in the IP again. You know what I mean? This, I feel like, could have been left out, you know, because you're kind of leaving out kind of giving the people a little bit of false hope right here. But ain't no telling if they will throw away all those resources and assets that they did create. You know, maybe they could be repurposed into some kind of spin-off, like a little smaller $30 type of joint, you know what I'm saying? A little small 8-hour joint, and kind of recoup some of those costs and make a little money back. But it remains to be seen. And that's their post right there. In a media call, Ubisoft Chief Financial Officer Frederic, I'm not going to say the last name, explained the decision to cancel the 6 games and delay a further 7. As part of the finalization of the reorganization, we went through a review of projects across December and January with the current market evaluation in mind, which is persistently more selective. He said, you've seen the last quarter showing a never seen before level of competition. So competition and selection is here to stay. But when you are coming in number one, number two, with great content quality on a given segment, then you can have a very strong reward in terms of player reception and financial performance. So that's what really formed our pipeline review. We enhanced the quality criteria to select what we think should be the best projects to put the creative houses in the best conditions to succeed in that market, with the idea that we must focus our resources on the strongest potential games for the long term. So that's really the criteria, the approach that we followed to either stop some games, and in there are 3 new IPs that we stopped in the context where, yes, it's more difficult in this market to create new IPs than before, or to give additional time for projects that we think have great potential. But we need to make sure they will come with exceptional quality. Like I can't be mad at nothing he just said. Because at the end of the day, as a consumer, I want a great game, a great quality product. That's what I want, especially if I'm gonna pay $60, $70 for it. And if they saying, hey, it might not have been worth your money, we might be like, don't tell me. But at the same time, they the one making the game. They the one funding the game. They've already spent the money. We would just be potentially paying them to recoup or even push them into a profit area with the stuff they produce. So that's really the approach and the mindset that we've been following. Coming back to new IPs, we still have 4 new IPs in development, including March of Giants, which we just acquired. So we still believe that there are 4 innovative new IPs that we can bring to the market with a great level of success. So that team right there probably was cooking. They probably got something solid over there, at least solid enough to where they didn't mind canceling some in-house stuff and putting further resources and whatnot into this project here. When it was announced in September 2020, the Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time remake had been in development for 2.5 years at Indian studio Ubisoft Pune and Ubisoft Mumbai, and was planned to release in January 2020. Whoa, yeah, that was long overdue. Following a negative reaction to the game's reveal trailer, however, it was delayed several times, and in 2023 it was announced that Ubisoft Montreal, which made 2003's original Sands of Time, had taken over development duties. That's tough. And listen here, if you ever try to pick up behind another contractor's work or behind somebody else's work and fix it and finish, fuck that. The remake was given a 2026 release window, with Ubisoft stating that in 2024 that its Toronto studio, Far Cry 5, Watch Dogs Legion, had come on board to collaborate with Ubisoft Montreal on the project. So they even brought some more people in there, try to get that thing together and bring it in line, but it didn't work out. Last year, it clarified that it was set to release by the end of the current financial year, meaning before today's announcement, players were expecting its release sometime before March 2026. And that's how I go. No thanks, I would not like it. And that's how I go sometimes, bro. It's sad, but we move on and continue to flourish, hopefully. Like I said, this is a lot of bad Ubisoft news. A lot of people love to pile on the Ubisoft, and people will say it's like self-inflicted wounds, which to a degree it is. They do put them, a lot of, especially these big studios and publishers like this, they do put themselves in these kind of positions when they just got too much going on. In my opinion, it's too much shit. I've said a long time ago that Ubisoft should focus on Creed, focus on Division, focus on like a remake of like a Splinter Cell or Principle, like one remake of an older title, and The Crew, and maybe one other game. That's a handful of games. That's extremely manageable in my opinion, especially by a publisher that size, because you spread yourself too thin. You got too many projects going on. You got too much money to worry about where it's going, and is it gonna get a return? And then you gotta market the stuff. Then you gotta deal with the employees, and it's just a whole bunch of money that's and I'm pretty sure it's some leakage going on, a lot of waste over there. And also Siege, of course you want to keep working on Siege and keep that in, folks. That's a heavy hitter right there, especially in my opinion. That's a heavy hitter they got right there. And they producing the Avatar game, Star Wars game, different things. And they also got Rayman. We ain't seen that from. They also got Brawlhalla, which I ain't heard nothing about. Could be popping. I ain't heard nothing about. For Honor still going on, but how profitable is that? Is that worth? Especially I guess if you plan on doing a sequel, but are they doing a sequel? We ain't heard nothing. We ain't heard nothing. Hopefully they get it together. I'm open to being surprised. I'm a fan of Ubisoft. I don't want them to fail. I don't want these studios to close down. I don't want these IP to be lost to the eons. But at the same time, if it fails, they earn that. That's on them. They did that, and I'm not obligated to feel bad or support something that I'm not interested in. They got to produce a game I want to play, and everything else is just, in my opinion, a waste. I'm not gonna play it. I'm not gonna buy it. That's for other people to support. You know what I mean? But that's it for the Ubisoft news. The Ubisoft portion is over.
Now moving on over, continuing with the live service greatness. Highguard has popped out of the shadows with some information for the people. Tune in on Monday, January 26th at 10 a.m. for the Highguard launch showcase. Oh yes, they're making the launch an event. They're going to be live with the people. Probably, some gameplay most likely, showcasing what's going on and letting the people know what time it is. It's an interesting time to do this. Of course, we would have liked to see something like this, a week ago, even a few days before. But this is I'm not mad at it. It's just odd in my opinion. Usually when you shadow drop a game, we don't know about it. It just drops. It just pops out and people check it out and play it. And that's what they did with Apex. Nobody knew about it. Shadow drop. People played. Well, they showcased it, then shadow dropped it, and then people played it. So this is kind of the same. The only difference is this was a trailer at the Game Awards, which does make a big difference because that's a huge audience watching that right there. I forget the name of the event that Apex was showcased at, but what was that? But I remember, bro, that evening, oh my goodness, that evening, it was Apex. It was Apex or die. Apex was everything at that time. Here we'll share an in-depth look at Highguard direct from the studio, featuring full gameplay, deep dive, year one plans, and much more. So it's going to be a roadmap and everything right here. Now, as I said when it came to Marathon, a roadmap don't mean nothing. You know what I'm saying? We've seen quite a few games pop out and present the people with a roadmap and then get shut down. Concord had a roadmap. Suicide Squad had a roadmap. Those are the top of my head right now about which games had roadmaps, but those are the top of my head because I do remember speaking about it inside of a Marathon post where they said they're in it for the long haul. But you being in it for the long haul don't really mean nothing when somebody is above you and they can make decisions and they got checks to put out. They paying the studio and different things of this nature. Now, this is an independent studio. I seen that Devolver Digital hit them with the "it's still time if you need a pub." Shout out to them shooting that shot. I'm not mad at it. I'm really not mad at it. I like it. I love it. And I want some more of it. Big baby. Now, the sentiment around this game was super interesting because initially it was a ton of people just dry ball hating. Just straight up dry ball hating on the game. Then about a couple of weeks ago, I seen some CCs kind of see where they could get in and fit in as far as trying to cape for the game in a way of, usually these individuals wouldn't do that, but I guess in an effort to throw some new perspective on the game, they kind of switched to the other side and went to, y'all just want to see the game because y'all want to shoot, which I do believe. You know what I mean? I do believe a lot of people are just hanking for information so that they can then use that information to hate form content, because a lot that's pretty much what YouTube and being a creator on TikTok is these days. Just farming content, which I'm not mad at. Again, get your money, but I do look at people the way in which the way they do it. I don't believe that, just mindlessly hating on games and spinning all news into negative news, and especially for gaming you're not even interested in. That's my thing. And you can make the argument, well, if they made the game they were interested in, they wouldn't be hating on it. Sure. But plenty of studios do make games they're interested in, and you don't see them promoting pretty much any game positively, because that's kind of how they set their content up, to just hate, to be haters. Getting that hate on. You know what I mean? And I made a conscious effort to not consume that. Like, as soon as I see a person just hating for no reason, like, bro, I'm good. I'm cool. I'm cool. I have eyes. I can see the different negative things going on around the game. But at the same time, I'm either just not interested and then go pay attention to a game I am interested in, or there's other things in there that I feel like I would be able to enjoy. Back when I was speaking about the reviews and that, about how PlayStation should hurry up and allow for people to leave like comments and statements on their star review, so people can kind of get an understanding for why they review the game in a certain way. And in that understanding, some things in there you might dislike, but I might not care about, or some things that I might dislike that you might not care about. You really got to let people formulate their own opinion about stuff like that, as far as the reviews go. But I'm hyped for this. I'm for sure gonna watch this. Like I said before, I'm interested in what is a raid shooter. So long as they do an awesome job in expressing what that is to the people, I think they're gonna cook. These developers produce games with good movement, crisp shooting, the abilities look cool. They got all this stuff is inside of their wheelhouse. So I feel like if it does fail, it's just people aren't interested in the quote unquote raid spin on the game. And though I do love arena shooters are my thing, I do just feel like at this point, arena shooters are they've transitioned to just being an add-on right now. You can't have just the arena shooter and be successful. You have to have an interesting main mode in order to be successful. You have to have a plethora of the traditional modes, but you also have to have that one thing that differentiates you from the rest of the pack. Concord had Rivals mode, which was kind of like a spin on Search and Destroy in a way. They had the plant bombs and stuff and limited lives and things of this nature. And the way they put their spin on it was how you could bring in different variants of your specific of the hero or free gunner you liked. But people didn't understand that. People figured that because it was when you win, you go to the next round, you couldn't choose that same character over again. So they chalked it up as I could only pick my favorite character one time. No, you could pick your favorite character up to 4 times, but that wasn't explained. It wasn't explained. And the amazing thing about that is how the traits from one character would transition to the next character. Say, for example, this is just an example. You got a character that, when he dodges, reloads the gun. I could then, when I die or win with that character, or was it when you die? That trait will transfer over to the next character, so you can stack traits in a way. So if you have a Star Child, which is like a tank / shotgunner, shotguns don't traditionally reload quick. So you could pick a character with the dodge reload. If you because you still want to do well, you're not out here just trying to die on purpose. But if you did perish, Then you're like, okay, I'm finna throw some stacks on Star Child. You know, so now your Star Child specifically now, because everybody's Star Child wouldn't, unless they all did the same strat, which they probably wouldn't. But you dodge, boom, your shotgun reloaded. So you charging in, do, time to reload. You don't spend the time, you don't manually reload to spend those seconds. You just dodge forward. You reload it, and you locked and loaded, ready to go. You can keep on going. Plus, you get that extra bit of maneuverability. So it was some strategy up in there. This ain't a Concord video. This is not a Concord segment. But if they have things of this nature that can make the gameplay that different, and you can take a specific character and build them in a certain way. You know, I seen a clip of some trophies and some things that this joint might even have some MOBA elements in there. You know? And that would be motherfucking cool. That would be motherfucking cool. I fuck with MOBAs. I was a huge fan of Arena of Valor. And I played the fuck out of Arena of Valor. Mobile Legends. Back in the day on PlayStation, there was a MOBA called Genesis. Talk about motherfucking fun. Talk about a good time. That stuff went on with that game. I might actually end up doing like a video or something on that game, because it was, the way that game went out was crazy. Absolutely crazy. But I'm really looking forward to January 26th and checking this out. I hope they stick the landing. I'm going to be glued to it. I am going to work, so I'm going to be glued to it in betwixt jobs. You know what I'm saying? And we're going to see what they've been cooking and what they present to the people. Hopefully it's something awesome, because like I say, I'm looking for some new shooters to partake in. And with it being free to play, if I could burn 50, 60, 70 hours in there, I'm good. I'm super good. You know, I don't want it to be a situation where it was like Concord, where I was only able to log like 55 hours. They did issue everybody refunds, but like, man, I was having so much fun. It just wasn't enough time. It just weren't enough. And then they had matter of fact, they had a Star Child variant that was supposed to pop up the next week, bro. I was hype. I was ready. I already had them maxed out, bro. Bro, I'm gonna have to go back through my clips and look at some Star Child footage, man, because I was in my goddamn bag over there in that game. I was, for real. So I'm looking to put a decent amount of hours in here and become competent, so I can actually give a real opinion on the game that's fueled by experience and knowledge. You know, and I'm not worried about if this game takes off, it, you know, impeding on me, because it's different gameplay styles, like extraction shooters, and extraction shooters has its own thing that makes it special. Even amongst extraction shooters, Marathon is different, so it's definitely not going to be anything, in my opinion, to impede on this. It's the idea that if you play one, then you can't play no other one. You know, I say all the time, it's cross-pollination. People play some that are similar to each other, and people also play some that are vastly different from one another. You know, you might finish your battle pass early over here, so you want to go run through the battle pass over there. It's various reasons as to why an individual would crisscross applesauce when it comes to things like this. But yeah, this is pretty much all the news that came along with this announcement. We just really gotta wait. I'm looking forward to it. I'm gonna be glued. Staying on theme with the games as a service multiplayer situations, we got here a clip from a content creator that I recently come across this week regarding Marathon, because even Marathon, they dropped a plethora of news. I got a video about that on my channel. Link to that video will be in the description, but let me play this so you can hear what his mindset is when it comes to Marathon.
I don't care what kind of fucking quest you're trying to do. I don't care if you've been working on it the whole. I will stay in the lobby till the last minute is on that fucking timer to make sure you can't extract with your quest items to progress your fucking whatever. I don't care. I don't care. I'm gonna PvP the fuck out of you. I am PvPing so hard in Marathon. I don't care what you're doing. I don't care if you're upset. I don't care if you're a content creator. Okay? I don't care if you're fucking John Marathon himself. If you're trying to fucking PvE in front of me, I'm gonna give you this PvP-ness. That's what's gonna happen. Okay? Absolutely. Every fucking time. I don't.
And that's real. That is real. Because, you know, if you wanna get your PvE on, and I said this before the release of both of these games when it comes to Arc Raiders and Marathon, that Arc was gonna be the more chill, casual PvE. You hop in, collect your scrap, get your materials, go back, do your crafting, and it's more so like a vibe type of game. You know, I said it would be something cool. You could just pop on and do dailies and questing while you either participating in a podcast or listening to a podcast. You know, it's buddy over there, hand holding over there, kumbayaing over there. As the big homie Will 777 JP would say, hands up, don't shoot over there. Man, he hate that shit. Playing Arc Raiders with him, bro. Every time I think about it, it's funny. I think about it because he don't play that shit, bro. He try to whip out the PV penis, as my man right here said. And to be honest, playing Arc Raiders does kind of neuter you a bit, because even me, I'm PvP focused, but just the energy in the game has kind of neutered me in a way, so I drop in. I'm just moseying about, not really playing aggressive, playing like a bitch, you know. But this right here, one of the reasons I was really looking forward to and am looking forward to Marathon continuously, super hyped for this game, is because of the PvP focus. It ain't gonna be no hands up, don't shoot. It ain't gonna be friendly. Ain't gonna be none of that. Even if you pop in this joint as a rook, solo, you better make sure I don't see you. You better make sure you in the shadows. You better make sure when you move into an area that all players are gone, because you are going to get smoked. There was a segment in the video when they were going over the shells where you could drop him some. No, there will be no dropping of him some loot. The only loot that's going to be dropping is the loot dropped from his body when his body drop, brother. That's how we coming. This is PvP. This is PvP. Arc Raiders is that anomaly where it was one of those things that really just drastically took off, and tons and tons of people play the game, and tons of people that over there just are not PvP type of people. They want to go out there, hang out, and they look for every reason to talk negatively, to speak negatively on people who do in fact engage with the PvP. They'll take anything that the creator says and say, see, oh, it's not about people. I don't care. It's in here. If it's not about PvP, why is it that when I shoot bullets at your body, it falls? Now, I get canonically, you're not technically, quote unquote, killing raiders, because you walk up to them and then what do you do? Knock them out. But at the same time, I can get your stuff. And that's an option for me. They put that option inside of the game. They could have not put that option in there. I know they said it was boring. They could have not put that option in there. They made that decision to put that option in there. So people are making the decision to smoke you like a Newport and take your stuff. You know, but I do like that it's not even a question when it comes to this. Now, will there be people who try to bring their art energy over here? Absolutely. Absolutely. And when they keep coming in here getting their damn black blown out, are they going to complain? Absolutely. Are they going to be calling people toxic? Absolutely. Are they going to be calling Marathon trash? Absolutely. But when it comes to, now I participated in, you know, I played it. I played as Rook. I played as the new medic class. I played it. I'm in there. I'm sold. They ain't got to do nothing else for me. Everything up to release is a bonus. All these videos have been bonuses. The pre-order stuff, the big content bomb they dropped early this week. Oh, I'm sold, brother. I was already sold. That's me. Because I am a PvP focused guy. And I'm looking forward to jumping off in this game and becoming excellent in the PvP aspect, building out guns and, you know, not catering, but designing my shell in such a way to take every advantage I possibly can take with the cores, with the implants, with the synergy of the weapons I select. I'm going in this joint trying to be optimal. And when I come across you, let me hear some footsteps. And this is going to be a shared energy across this whole situation because we out here for blood, baby. We want blue blood on the floor. Every which way. So some people going to come over from Art Rage just to try it out, and they going to be food. And then they going to try to position that in such a way to state as this is why Art Raiders is better. No, this is why you enjoy Art Raiders more. But this just might not be your style of shooter. This you a PvE guy. That's what you are. You a PvE guy. And that's fine. But there's absolutely nothing wrong with individuals getting some PvP first focused stuff. You know, it's gonna be a ton of people who come over from Ark, check this out for a day, and then head right back over to Ark. Or I'll say, since this is a price barrier to entry of $40, they'll probably come over here for a week or a few days, or they're gonna come over here for some time. It ain't gonna be like I'm gonna play for an hour and then that's it. Some content creators might do that just because they able to write games off and they get access for free. And they have certain loopholes in ways they can enjoy a game or check a game out or try a game out without having to spend money. So some content creators may do that. You might even have some people just pick it up off the strength of a friend, suggesting it to them, but that's going to be extremely, the percentage of people doing that going to be low in my opinion. Just because folks ain't really trying to throw away no $40. $40 for a game is cheap, but at the same time, $40 is $40 fucking dollars. So folks ain't trying to waste no $40 like that. But I'm interested in seeing the kind of sentiment that's going to grow around the game from the PvEers who jump over here and try to check it out just off of the strength of it is an extraction shooter, and Art Raiders was their first extraction shooter, so they want to try to check out another one, and this is vastly different than Art Raiders. Only thing similar is they're both sci-fi, and they're both in the extraction shooter genre. And they're both you shooting robots or variations of what a robot is. I can't wait. I cannot wait. I've not been this pumped or excited for a multiplayer shooter since Concord. That's the meme. But I love Concord, bro. I was in that joint heavy. I was in Concord heavy, and I was getting fucking busy, bro. Now, this ain't gonna be as engagement focused just by nature of it's not an arena shooter. So the time between you coming across other players is not gonna be as quick. It's not gonna be as instant. You know, in an arena shooter, you constantly that's the goal. You're constantly running toward each other. You know, here you're gonna be, going into specific areas, collecting specific material, collecting and doing quests and leveling up skill trees and building out your character and collecting guns and looting this, that, and third. Collecting garbage, as Will Trippers of JP would say. Collecting garbage. But I'm with it because I think the buildability of the character itself is more. You see the result more inside of not Conquer. Oh my goodness, inside of Marathon than you do in Arc Raiders. Though there is a skill tree inside Arc Raiders, the improvements in the character are slight. You know, things like when you bust open the box, you make less noise. When you crouch, your health heals up faster. You know, but things inside of Marathon where you improve your characters is combat focused. It's shell focused. Like you're really tweaking your shell. Tweaking and tuning. And you're getting clear benefits that's gonna really help you out in these fights. And I'm gonna go ahead and tell you, bro, I'm behind there getting busy. Getting busy. I'm dropping bodies, bruh. Don't get mad at me. Don't be upset at me. This is who I am. This is what I'm called to do. I'm called to do this. The opportunity presented itself and I took advantage. Oh, yes. And you got the way different shells can counter other shells, but the reason you would still want to pick the shells is because the specific benefit this shell gives you. So even though individuals outside your party or outside your team can counter you specifically, you still want to use that shell for that benefit because it might help you get some eel loot. It might, help you progress through the raid quicker alongside your teammates, as long as you don't get left alone. Then you become food. Then you become fodder, biodegradable to the environment as your body break down. This is a cool feature. Super cool feature. You can tell how long somebody been dead by the decay of the shell. Talk about detail. Then they dropped the cast list for this game, and that threw folks for a loop. The voice actor cast list. They got 2-3 individuals from Claire Obscure in there. So they put some money behind this. They put some VAs to work, and I know people love that. I know people love voice actors being employed. I know people love the fact that they could have used AI voices but didn't. They went out here and got some prominent individuals to lay down some lines for the boys and girls. Now, I'm sure that wasn't cheap. We would also like to know why are all these heavy hitters inside the voice actor cast? Is there something we don't know? Is there something we don't know? Interesting. Now, Bungie is no slouch, quote unquote. I can't really think of a more accurate word in the moment when it comes to putting some talented voice actors to work. They did that at every opportunity inside Destiny 2. At one point they had Peter Dinklage, the imp himself, up in there. They had some heavy hitters on there. So they do like to use talented voice actors and put them to work. So I think that was a ballsy move because you know how people these days like to do. They like to go research names and look to see who got Free Palestine in their bio just so they can call it woke. Which, surprisingly, we ain't seen none of that. We ain't seen none of that going on. Surprisingly, that whole woke stuff just kind of died out when it comes to this game. And I think that whole anti-woke, woke versus woke ideology and scrimmage has kind of ran its course and died down. And I want to say gaming is healing. Gaming is healing. Now, lastly, back on the anime, episode 3 of Sentence to Be a Hero was lit. His Majesty came out and did his thing. When you see or they show you certain characters initially, you kind of write them off as being goofballs or fodder or useless. This episode, the The side cast was utilized. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you right now, this was a excellent episode to go to show that ain't nobody on the team useless. Everybody has their position. They played it, their use case. And one of the most, I don't want to say annoying, but one of the most delusional characters in the show thus far, aside from the goddess, was shown that he here for a reason. He's a force to be reckoned with. And in his delusion, it gives him strength. Oh my goodness, it gives him strength. Because what he did in this episode, when it counted, when it was time for him to show up, when it was time for him to show out, I couldn't believe it. I was like, hold on, bro. Because it still allowed for the main character to do main character things, but it also showed personality. It also showed courage. It also showed humility. It also showed strength when his majesty got busy. And inside anime, good shows do a great job of showcasing individual characters outside of the main character and without still overshadowing the main character. Because you got some shows that don't nobody like the main character. He constantly getting overshadowed, quote unquote useless, he crying all the time, whining, just not relatable and not strong, not what you want to see in a man. Because you want the main character, fuck with all these folks. The main character is supposed to be the guy. Everybody's supposed to want to be him. And the side characters of something, like you can see a part of yourself in the character, or a part of the main character in the character. They're addition to. They're like a buff. They're additive in a good way. It's like seasoning when it comes to how side characters are supposed to, add to the story. And they did an awesome job of showcasing the side characters without overshadowing the main character. Everybody got an opportunity to shine. And that's really, you want it to be a situation where the main character is cool, but hey, this guy right here, or this girl right here, you know what I mean? You want each and everybody to have a degree of allure and cool to them, no matter how weird they are. I mean, as long as they ain't doing like no ultra weird shit, you know what I'm saying? But it's a guy in this joint that don't even speak, just there, zoned out. But he got active in this episode. He got active. Another character that turned out to be hella cool, but when they initially showed him to you, I don't know about this one. He might be the first one to die off. But he out here going crazy. The team as a whole went crazy over here. As a whole. And I really like where this show is going. Crunchyroll has been presenting some awesome shows as of late. To be honest with you, they really ain't missed in the shows I've watched anyway. And sure, a lot of the shows that I'm watching are deemed to be the more quote unquote hyped shows, but they should be the best. They should be the best. Tons of people ain't watching them for tons of people are watching them, but tons of people are watching them for a reason. There's some people who seem to think that, the more hype a show is, the more people watch it, and they want to go out here and find the underground, not so hype stuff, and the stuff that got quote unquote new. They try to get overly quote sophisticated with the situation. Like, bruh, it's just anime. It's just anime. Sometimes people just want to sit down, watch some cool fights with some cool art, cool music, and vibe out for an hour or two. That's what folks want to do. It ain't all about trying to be overly sophisticated and finding the minutia and this, that, and the third, and complexity. It's like, bruh, don't nobody want to do all that all the time. Sometimes you do. Sometimes you want to catch a show with some quote unquote depth. And I say that because they like to present the hype shows, the more actiony shows, the shows that don't have depth, that don't have character depth, they don't got good, right? But all that shit they be putting on. They be putting on because it's a niche, it's a lane for disliking the hype shit and putting the more niche shit above the hype shit. Which, hey, do your thing. Do your thing, but hey, I like the meathead shit. I like the cool fights. I like the explosions. I like the crisp animation. And tons of people do. And tons of people liking the thing might just mean that thing is good. You know, even in gaming, we have this thing where it's overhyped, or, you know, it's actually not good, and people just like it because everybody else like the shit might just be hitting. The shit might just be good. And that's cool. That's cool. It's a lot of quote unquote overhyped games that I don't necessarily care for in the same way that other people are ride or die for. I can recognize that it's a good game. Mechanically, it's sound, but it just might not be for me. And I'm not gonna force myself to play a joint just because everybody else like it. Nah. It's too many games coming out that I'm interested in. Too many games that I'm just more hyped to play. And when it comes to anime, I'll watch a show if somebody recommended it to me, if it looks interesting to me, and if I see it and it got that flame by it, I'm gonna check it out. Cause why not check it out? People like it for a reason. I might fuck with it. Most of the time I do fuck with it. And there are plenty of times where, you know, a new show pop out and the vast majority of people don't fuck with it, but I end up fucking with it, and I watch it through the whole thing. Plenty of shows I like that, bro, that I fuck with that many people just do not fuck with. Now, like Dr. Stone, for example. I started watching it, but I'm like, bro, I don't give a fuck about this. The concept was cool. I caught the first couple episodes, but I'm like, and folks love that shit. Attack on Titan. Folks love that shit. I'm cool. Not saying it was a bad show. I just didn't really care for how they were releasing episodes. We're gonna do a part 1 half season and drop a piece of the season in the pre. Like, bro, what the fuck are we doing? Put the shit out. The fuck are we doing? You know, because even things like that, like the way in which you release an episode, will cause me to put that joint. I'm cool. I've got no problem with dropping some shit and going on to something else. I'm not attached in that way to where I have sunk cost fallacy. I don't give a fuck about that. I'm good. You know, because that will cause a lot of people to stick with some stuff that they wouldn't normally stick with. Because I already seen all the seasons, so I might as well watch it. I'm cool. I don't give a fuck. I will put some shit down in a heartbeat, like Game of Thrones, whatever. Man, I didn't watch the last season. I'm good. You know? Well, I might as well, because I didn't. Nah, it's other shit on. It's other shit to do. Fuck other shit on. It's other shit to do. You know what I'm saying? Well, I'm gonna stick to watch the last episode of anime I don't really fuck with, or I ain't really looking forward to, because they changed this, or a character I like died. Bro, I'm gonna go play me a game. I'm gonna go boot up a 5. I'm gonna go boot up the PS Vita. I'm gonna go draw. I'm gonna go, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna go do something. Nah, bro. Before you know it, you done wasted 2 hours on some bullshit you ain't really give a fuck about. Just off the strength of you've watched previous episodes, I'm good. But I'm going to leave y'all right there. That's all I got for you for this week for GG or Die. Appreciate y'all for coming through, kicking it, checking it out. I've been enjoying producing this pod, you know. May not touch on all the bigger stuff, all the more hype stuff. But I really just want to touch on the stuff that I'm interested in, that I find interesting. You know, there are tons of people who go over the sales, who go over all the news. I really just like talking about games that I'm interested in and want to talk about. That's how I really want to get down when it comes to this this platform, this podcast. You know, just me. Yeah, I'm gonna have some folks on, but I really enjoyed. I'm glad I jumped in to do this episode 3. Not gonna hold you no longer. It's already been a while. Catch y'all side the next one.